because you look at number one, number two, the defending champions get a draw, and you look at Orlando Pirates as well, they lost, because those are the two teams you're looking at to say, Ipaila Papezu. It makes the league very interesting, and no team is saying Minang Chasey Pirates or Chasey Sundowns. They are chasing themselves, and even the new teams are setting a precedence to say we are coming into the league and this is what we are doing. Marumo Gallants, they lost their coach to Orlando Pirates, and they said to Richards Bay, we're going to come through and get maximum points. So that's really great.
Coach Lafitte is a man with all 3 points against Richards Bay, and they did it with 10 men as well. Most of that match being played without Edgar Manaka, they still won it.
Yeah, it's important to start well, Thomas, especially, the first game of the season. You're rightfully speaking about the tone. You want to set the tone. And also, it's always nice as a coach as well to build from a positive results, because then you can get to improve.
Uti, if you didn't start with the win, Manju, it's important to start with the win. Because Manju team. Yeah.
Scalana.
Yes, you got to call already. And so
you spoke about the importance of winning your first game. You spoke about the importance of setting the tone. And when you're playing at home, we know that you want to take advantage of your home state. And you look at Siwelele now, what a way to introduce themselves to the new fans with all these players, with the former captain rather. Now he's a coach. He understands the fans, understands the atmosphere as well. Getting yourself introduced in 3 goals, 3. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Well, what more you can ask for is to stay with us, because right after the break, Shorty, as well as the General, will be taking you through the action that took place today in the Betway Premiership. We're going to give you a review of everything that took place. Strap yourself in, stay with us, because if you didn't see the day, here's your chance to get up to speed. Worry, Coach Mangoba has showed up to do that interview, and I will be crossing over very shortly to hear from Lindiwe and get a perspective from Coach Mangoba about how things went on that 3-1 defeat in the match that just took place against Siwelele. But let's just give you a quick sense. And again, Shorty is with me, Simpiwe Dludlu. She is a Banyana legend, as well as a former coach of the national teams of South Africa. So we're going to wrap things up with Simpiwe, and at the far post, Deko Modise needs no introduction, but I'll do it anyway. A man who's done it all and won league titles with Mamelodi Sundowns, worn the black and white of Orlando Pirates, and a superstar in a Bafana Bafana jersey. This is wrap time, guys. So we're going to give people a sense of what's going on. But what I want to start out with is Tuesday. Now, I was part of the Betway Premiership launch. There was a question asked to the 2 coaches that were involved in the match that we just saw, with Coach Siema as well as Coach Mangoba Mniti. Because one, Siwelele is so brand new, and what did Coach Mangoba know? And the answer we got there was fascinating. Thought we'd share it with you, and then you can tell me what you thought on the back of seeing 4 goals scored on the answers that came on Tuesday. Take a look. This time around against Siwelele, no tapes, no video, no. What are you going to look at to prepare? I know you're a man who likes to prepare.
The game against Siwelele, I think that one I will be very short. I don't know anything about it. So well, it's very difficult to prepare for them. I think I've only prepared for myself.
I can echo his words and say, Lerona Radzebe next, Carol. So.
Well, that's what you get when no one knows anything about the other opposition. You get 4 goals being scored, and Coach Leshonola Siema is the man on the winning side with all 3 of those points. But it was interesting, and we know Coach Mangoba is a man who really likes to prepare, and it was very difficult to prepare for Siwelele and even to prepare for that full house of fans.
Yeah, I think for the full house, maybe it was expected, because we know what football means to Bloemfontein City. But from a tactical point of view, it must have been difficult for him to prepare against a team that you don't know actually who's going to come through. But then again, you get a sense of it, possibly at halftime. Maybe that's why he made those 3 changes, because now you realize it's
too late. Halftime is only 2 need.
No, but we've seen in South Africa that sometimes games are 2 halves. Some teams actually come back in the second half and be able to win those games. But he wasn't right. He wasn't wrong actually, but by saying he doesn't know how to prepare, or maybe it was difficult for him to prepare against Siwelele. The results actually shows.
And it looked like the comeback was about to happen, Shorty, because within minutes in that second half, it's 2-1.
Yeah, it's 2-1, and 2 goals came into the second half, so it was possible to score as many goals. And what I love about this match is that it was electrifying, like the 15 games that is amazement lapaya. Already this matchup gave us that, because you look at how Siwelele was pressing, you could see it's young boys that are hunting for everything. Makitikid at this moment,
there he is.
Makes it difficult for Uchia to be able to clear his lines. And Divine Lungu, he even crosses with a weaker foot because predominantly we know he's right-footed. So it tells you also Upule understands which when Makitikiti is in the box, he's going to do something. So Ushilowati between the two of us, and that's what it is. And look at only the two players that they had sent forward to disrupt the build-up. So it shows you also Coach Siema, he worked on the strengths of Itimiaki, knowing that they are young, they can run, and they can use the energy.
We did hear Lindy were talking about when she spoke to Magidi how it was that Pule and Magidi just seemed to have this understanding. There is an understanding there because he's awake in the box to make up the scraps after the header, and it continues in terms of how the goals came because here, Lungu kicks it forward, new man from Cote d'Ivoire in Kamara. I keep looking at this and I'm like, this back pass is going to haunt him.
Yeah, man, it will haunt him. I mean, I'm sure that he knows that he could have done better. Yes, now in modern football, you required as a centre back, not necessarily required, but it seems like it's something that has been forced upon centre back that you need to be a ball player. And even in certain instances where you can actually clear the ball, in this instance, you could have done so. But Pule, what's good about Pule as well is anticipating as well, looking at maybe he can actually grab that ball. And it's exactly what he did that resulted into a goal.
Pule finding the finish, but Pule showing why, even in his Orlando Pirates days, he was such a loved figure at the club. The work rate. There's no reason for him to be sprinting like that. There's no reason for him to be putting that amount of pressure on Kamara, but he did.
You don't have a choice but to sprint because of the youngsters that are around you. Because Abo Rapo, Abo Makitikiti, all of them, Lungu is also around. He's not as young as the two, but it's a hard running team because it's Makitikiti that flicks the ball, and immediately he was still in the box to get that third pass for coming in. And that's what you do when you play against a team that you don't know entirely. That's what you do. But maybe for the side of Golden Arrows, maybe Coach Siema had more understanding about them because they just brought in other young players and that they didn't have much of a transition because they're a team that likes playing from the back, so you take advantage of that, and that worked to the advantage of Siwelele, and they kept it simple. They didn't try to overbuild at the back. Coach Utenje, get it, play.
And now let's move on and take a look at how the scoreline could have been even worse. With 2-0 already, Maova was called into action. The men in green in front of that sea of green and white were playing scintillating football, entertaining Deko Modise style, against our Fanabes
Lalela, I don't even remember the last time Pule was enjoying himself on the pitch like this. I think it was Orlando Pirates days, and to see him getting back and playing in an atmosphere that he's so used to when he's playing for Orlando Pirates, with a number of fans being on the stand and being the talisman, not even the talisman, but being him, a senior player that leads the front line. It's very, very exciting. That's why you see the Magidi now getting into the game. The Lungas are running, the Silas are running as well. I think Pule this season is going to be very, very important for Siwelele, but I think Magidi could have scored 5. I mean, you look at the time the save that he, that the goalkeeper made, it was also again Magidi as well. And there's another opportunity as well, possibly that we might see as well, finding himself inside the box. So you can clearly see that from a Siwelele side, there's some sort of a difference within the team itself. As much as these are the same players that are fighting for my playoffs and relegation, this is the same team that it comes tonight. It's showing that the good signs with the new coach, new environment, the fans, everybody's excited.
Now, when you look at us here in studio, Shorty and myself, hairstyles are not really the thing, but Deko Modise has got plenty of hair, which then takes me to this goal, though, because with Keenan Phillips scoring here, I kind of try to work out what shampoo does he use, and then I decided it has to be Head and Shoulders, because this is a clean something. Because was it the head, was it the shoulder?
And we were really, amazed. If it's a head, he really, took time to flick it so that it is lofted into the box, because the delivery of it. Also, there was a deflection that came ahead of him. So then we realized, go Head and Shoulders. We're shying a shoulder with the chest. And it actually immaculate that he didn't even get a handball to it, because you could be disturbed and get a handball to it. So he was at the right place at the right time and saying, he actually looks like Charlie Chaplin with his, he's then looking the part.
But the question now becomes, like, was it or yes, directed or in shape?
Look, he was jumping to head. Remember, there was a deflection in front of him. So if that deflection didn't happen, he was probably going to go in with his head. So he jumped high enough, and when the ball came, a footballer, unogul chest out unintentionally. So lim shaile langena lagmele
Oh, you should just chase.
I say Chaisa, he was there. He was there intentionally.
Perfectly looping, no chance for Goss, and now game on.
Yeah. I mean, you're scoring at the right time on the clock. You know, coming into the second half. Once you score that goal, you can see also like a little bit of energy that has been brought in back into Golden Arrows. We also expected like, okay, there's an open game. You know, it might go all the way for Golden Arrows to make those type of changes that they needed, maybe to also go on and be able to equalize. But that was never the case.
Now the two of you have played, right? And you understand that once it's 2-1, there was a chance here that Siwelele might lose a grip on this game. You know, you stop looking for something. You stop going forward. You get that fear of, all they need is one more and they're back in this game. But that's not how Siema's team played.
Yeah, football voodoo will tell you a 1-0 is safer than a 2-1. And at this moment, when this cross comes in, this corner comes in, you are sort of reminded, this is why these young players are able to play with wing play. Because if you can do wing play, it means you are able to rise up and be able to hit the target.
And you loved the set pieces.
I loved the set piece because it's an in-swinger going to the goalkeeper, but it's an out-swinger which is moving out of the field, which means if the goalkeeper comes out too quickly, he's going to miss it. And Maova didn't read it. He was too far. The rise from Maova, he was from Umagidikidi, he's intentional about it.
And all day the delivery has been good in the Siwelele side.
Absolutely. Like the deliveries were going to teammates. You know, it's only a teammate that is too far, is unable to connect with it and score. And that's what we are looking at and saying it's incredible how so ngiyazibuza ukuthi ucoach ube nesikhathi esingakanani with these players to teach them the set pieces so that they understand how he wants delivery, how they must run. Because everything you can see is from training ground, that nothing is just unintentional. It's planned clearly. When Lungu is playing them,
because he was saying he knows nothing. He just arrived.
No, he knows nothing about the opponents.
At the club. No, but himself as well. He only had 2 or 3 weeks arriving, replacing Gavin Hunt from last season. Then Andre Aronson was in charge for a short while. Literally, he's arriving to a club that was in transition, moving to a new city. For Siema to do what he did is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, look, from a set piece point of view, is you have still the same players that, if you remember as well, like how Coach Gavin Hunt wants, he always wanted to be very emphasized on set plays. And Rappa was playing under Gavin Hunt, Magidigi was playing under Gavin Hunt. Even if you didn't have time, that Masamemo will always kick in whenever it's in time of importance. And like Coach Shady has been speaking about the importance of the set piece, how they've been good. And you look at the person that has been in charge of those set pieces, has been Rappa, delivering there. Of course, there was bad marking inside the box, but at the end, these are players that understand each other very well. So, from a Siwelele point of view, you have 80% of players that have been playing together, regardless of how the situation was. But which means when things go well, then you start seeing the quality of the players. That's why you see Magidi getting a little bit fresher. Pule now is enjoying himself as well.
Man of the match, Magidi, he gets a brace in this one. He could have actually got a hat trick because him and Pule, look at how Pule is able to get him away.
And he's part of the headers. The 2 headers that come in them, it's him. Almost identical to the goal that came in from Upule, because that throw in, Utiko earlier on said, how does Celtic get Celtic Siwelele come out of their own half, to go that far? Umagidikidi was there, part of the headers. Even now, he's part of the headers. He knows if I flick it, there's someone running, and he turns and he goes. So that is something, the intuition we are talking about for a striker. He smells the danger. He knows if I hit the ball and I spin, the defenders, I'm going to lose them. And so that's what we want to see from a young player like him.
Let's hear now from Coach Mamelodi. He had to rush down the tunnel at the end of the match. So we did hear from Siema, but had not had that interview with Lindiwe and Coach Mamelodi. Here it is.
Coach, any words of the Sekhukhune thoughts, please?
I think we made our life difficult, unfortunate, to play our schools so early. We took 2 silly mistakes from both our centre backs, and from there the game became very difficult. I thought we came in second half with the desire to come back, and we scored very early. And again, we let in a free header in the box, and I still have to see what really happened there, because I know we specifically put special attention on Magidigiti on that one. And I still have to see what really happened, whether his marker was blocked or what, because I was just surprised to see him getting a free header. And I think we tried here and there in patches, but we were never really as sharp as I expected. I don't want to lie.
The 2 goals they scored in the first half, I saw you didn't panic. You only made changes in the second half.
Because I knew that they would get tired, and I wanted to get an early goal because I thought if we get an early goal second half, we would really have a chance of putting them under the sword. But unfortunately, we let it loose for too long, and I don't think we were sharp enough in many aspects, because even in our final third, I don't think we did enough to pose any threat on the other line.
What did you make of the debutants?
I was happy with Komara in as much as he made that mistake earlier, but I was happy because I expected it to be a little bit difficult for him in terms of the speed of the game in the PSL, but I think on that one he adapted very well. And the youngsters, Kumalo, the Pilani in the midfield, I think he played very well up until he got injured. Unfortunately, the striker on the day was not at his best, but he made some good movements. Unfortunately, they never yielded anything, but generally I think the team played very well.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
What do the numbers tell us after this one? Well, the important numbers are 3-1. Siwelele, impressive there with Magidi getting the brace, but also the number of opportunities they created. This is exciting football.
It is exciting football, and that's what we anticipated as well from the two sides, which they are young sides and also with coaches that love to play, because Coach Siema is the correct man to be coaching a Siwelele team because he's got youngsters. He's Bob the fixer, the builder, if I may put it that way, because he'll break it down to the players and say, this is how I want to play, and he's patient as a coach, and he's got the correct methods and the correct players in the team doing that for him. So Coach Mangoba, it will be important for him to quickly make these youngsters understand. Abosibia were on the bench, and Ndwandwe is not there. Abotele came on in the second half. Only then the ship started to steady up, but it was a bit too late.
From what you've seen today, and also the history, right? You look at what Supersport United did last season, being taken over, now moving to Bloem, becoming Siwelele. Supersport United last season only won 6 games. That was less than the team that was relegated in Cape Town City. And you look at that and you think to yourself, okay, they will struggle this season in a new city with a new coach. Are you changing your mind now? Are they a side now that you can see surviving easily? Because you would have looked at them and thought, this is a side that might be in trouble at the end of the season.
I can't, it'll be wrong for me to say it's a side that I'll see them surviving easily. Because this is the first game, you're looking at a Golden Arrows team that you're playing against, a lot of new players. It's a new players, we know the season is long. You know, and also it's important for players that were so maybe demotivated last season fighting relegation to have such a relief, to have maximum points playing at home in a new city with a full stadium. That's what you need. So you can build from there, because at the end of the day, you do have a different coach that has different methods of how you want to play. And players as well that you have on the pitch, using the type of players that you have on the pitch, maybe also dictate this in how you want to play. Like coaches said, Coach Slema is a footballing coach. You've got players that are willing to play for the club as well. And also, the important thing as well, you're playing for your career, because you know that you're having a clearance these days. It doesn't necessarily mean guarantee that you're going to span. So it's important for the players that are at Siwelele team now to actually continue with that. But it's still early for us to say they'll survive very easily.
On the other side, Golden Arrows haven't finished in the top 8 in the last 4 seasons. Is this a season that Coach Mangoba can turn into a top 8 finish for them?
It's possible. You can never, put them back. It's possible because a lot of teams have got new players coming in. There's new teams. There's 3 new teams. Orbit is promoted. You've got Siwelele, and you also, so you've got different teams that are coming in. It will give him a chance as an experienced coach now. As a head coach of the team on his own. We know when he left Sundowns, he couldn't do it as much. So it's going to be important for him to make it clear to say which players in the team have muscle memory, can help transition the younger players. Mina
the top 8 or are we born? Not yet.
Not yet.
That 15 games where he said, listen, in his pre-match interview,
I'm excited to see.
You're going to see one of the most exciting teams in the league. You're waiting for that?
Yeah, for 14 games. Selling 14 games.
I see the maths. 1 down, 14 more. Now, let's take you to earlier on in the day. If you're not with us, well, this is what happened when Orlando Pirates hosted Sekhukhune. It was number 2 versus number 4 in the league, and the pressure from the set piece eventually telling Chippa. The ball does cross the line. The finish is the one that he wanted. It can't be kept out, and that is what separated the two teams.
Yeah, it is indeed. And from a set piece point of view, you're expecting a lot of Pirates to do a little bit better, but we know that it's a team as well that struggled a little bit in terms of set piece. We heard the coach that spoke about, the importance of making sure that they don't concede via set pieces, making sure that they do have the right numbers inside the box. But a lot of Pirates failing to clear the lines resulted into this. Some keys of finding, being smart enough to realize that, China was making a save from the other side, and for him to shuffle across, it might take time. And just to play, it's not using enough power, but just using his side foot, being clever it is, using that CBC as well as a shield to make sure that China doesn't see the ball well.
Picks the spot there, curls it around Bodlela, who was flying out to try and make the block, can't get there, and Chain, who had been scrambling all over, just unable to get himself back onto that line. That's what separates the two sides at the end of the day. And, the football terms, people constantly talk about suffering. A team is going to suffer. Sekhukhune today, 33% of the actual possession. They take all the points. They were the team suffering.
33 ngcono. Last game abadlala bathole 28%. Last game maba wina 1-0, so they're used to this. Coach Eric Tinklu ukhulumile ukuthi we only focused on important aspects of the game, not conceding early, not giving possession away in our own half, not allowing Pirates to have the time and the space on the ball. And he took advantage of a factor ukuthi Coach Wadu uzile as a new coach, waleta new players also to play a very important fixture. So he took advantage of those elements. Abana synergy, abana fluidity. Let's take advantage of that.
They also had a 12th player today, and that was the upright, because in the first half we saw the ball crashing off the upright as Cardoso almost scored an own goal, and then this set piece, Mbogazi does everything right.
He does, and I would say that I don't think he had the full contact that he wanted with the ball. I think the ball just dipped just behind Cardoso or one of the centre backs rather. So he didn't have really enough clear chance for him to head it through. But still, he did enough that he could with the ball as well. That hits that upright. Yes, Nduli couldn't react on time. I think it slipped actually because of maybe how the surface was there. But yes, there's an opportunity that Orlando Pirates could have punished as well. But it's unfortunate that he hit the upright.
Sekhukhune, ecstatic with the victory. Give me a sense of what you feel about the two sides. Their goal this season is a 3rd place finish. 50 points would pretty much get them there. That's the target. Tinkler has been unashamed in saying, we want 50 points. We know 50 will get us into the CAF Confederations Cup potentially next season as a 3rd place finisher. Do they look like the side that is potentially capable of pushing that hard for that position?
Yeah, with the team that they have, they are a side that is very, very capable, and I mean, they've shown, even last season, and they want to continue, like you rightfully say. So they are in the right space. They do have the right players as well. They also made new signings as well to beef up the squad, to have quality in depth as well, because that's what you're going to need for you to actually get to those type of positions. So I see them really finishing really nicely as well in the top 4.
Bagania put together a squad that are looking to challenge for everything. This would have been a setback today.
It's a big setback, to be quite honest and frank, Thomas, simply because a Sundowns team knows good. There's a Pirates that's always chasing them. And today we didn't see a team that almost won the league, going neck and neck with Sundowns until the end. Because if you think about it, Imasil Memory culture team, it is brought together by players that understand that have been there. We didn't see a Mufukeng much because he was missing a Talente, he was missing a Makaula that knows is going to protect him from the back. Unduli, yes, he does make passes forward, but most of the passes are going sideways and all of that. You bring up police.
And the preseason, they work together. We saw this combination in the center of the park playing together even in preseason.
If you look at a Pirates team, you'd think they're actually a new team than Siwelele Sidlalile namhlanje.
Is that what you see? That's
what I saw today, because coach is new. And there wasn't a lot to be fixed in that Pirates team, but continuity. But he's starting afresh. Even in the cup game that we saw last week, yes, they played, they got the results, but they were tested. If Polokwane City really pushed them to the edge, they would have gotten a different result. So even today, it's going to be important for him to see which players were working together. Who passes Radiopane? Who passes Mahupa?
What would you like to see?
I would love to see him going back to the strong players that are in there. Mahupa can score, Mabasa can score. Radiopane is a young player that is coming up. He will get it right. over time. He needs to have the intuition, the confidence to do that. Apolis is playing with Mashilwani on the right. They're both new, so they don't have the synergy match to say when Hoto is going on the left, who stays on the right. So all of those things need to come into play. In that midfield, it was almost new players. Tito is in there in that midfield, but Agahlanganisi kahle Nombule, who you see him now, you don't see him. So it's a lot of changes in critical positions of the team.
And Thomas, just to add on what Coach Shoti is saying as well, you have a player that's from TS Galaxy. They were playing different from where he come from. Siwelele, you've got Umaremi that comes from Amazulu, they're playing a very bit different. You've got Nduli that comes from Stellenbosch that comes playing from different. So you've got all these players that are starting, coming from different teams that have been playing differently. Yet again, you're bringing them to a team that already has synergy that you don't have to fix, you need to continue. So for them to find that synergy that they want as a coach, as a new coach, is going to take some time. But the problem is now you're coaching a team that wants to win the league. You're coaching a team that's so used to now to being on the podium every season. So the pressure is on. And also from you look at also from a Sipombule, when was the last time Sipombule, as talented as he is, he hasn't played in 90 minutes in such a long time. So you still have to find the synergy. You can play preseason games. Preseason games, you have three teams to play for, but when it comes official, you look at how Coach Eric Tinker formulated his team today. High pressure, making sure that Orlando Pirates doesn't have space and time on the midfield, and the midfield got lost. So now, what happens now comes back to what Coach Lulu said about the synergy of the team. When you have the talent there, your Macaulas, those players know how to play pressure games. But now you have all these new players that don't understand how to play pressure games exactly, because they come from teams that normally don't have the type of pressure. So for them to actually acclimatize to the new environment, which is Orlando Pirates, it will take some time. But yet again, you want to do that by making sure these players are being integrated into the team by getting positive results. So the pressure is on for Coach Mark.
Next for Orlando Pirates, Marumo Gallants midweek live on your World of Champions. We'll see if changes and some of what's being said here is taken into consideration. However, let's now take you to what took place earlier on, and this was the match that was Chippa and Sundowns, the defending league champions. They started like you would want the defending league champions to start and expect them to start. And Sales, that is a quality finish. The build-up play is brilliant. They're one up.
He's continuing where he left off, even from the Club World Cup and all of that. And new players, obviously, like a Basadine comes in. And Matthews now starts full on in a new season. So the